Susie Wiles will last blank as Trump's chief of staff.
She'll last as long as she wants to.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I will say, because I pulled some data for this, I wrote a story about it over the weekend, which you should go check out. She will last at least 18 months, because that is the average tenure for a White House chief of staff, right? She's already outlasted Reince Priebus, Donald Trump's chief of staff, or his first chief of staff from his first term in office, by several months. Priebus was only in office for like 192 days, remarkably short turnaround. But I will say, I think she will stay on for at least 18 months, if not beyond that, because she's going to make it through the midterms.
Yeah.
We talked at the beginning about how integral Wiles is to keeping the Trump ship afloat, right?
Yes.
She's the hall monitor, more or less. She makes sure that people are where they are when they're supposed to be there. And I don't think that, given her own personal career, everything she's built, she's going to want to leave before giving her best effort to make sure that Republicans can maintain at least one majority. And the reason we're even talking about this, I guess we probably should have brought it up at the beginning, is because, like we talked about with Bill Pulte, MAGA is very mad at Wiles. And now there are some folks in Trump world who I'm talking to outside of the White House who tell me that, this uproar is basically just all fluff. People are mad at the president, but you can't actually say that out in public, otherwise he'll call you Marjorie Trader Brown. So they call for Susie Wiles' firing. But that's all it is. It's a pipe dream. She's not going anywhere because of how effective she is.
Look, what is MAGA? From a first principles perspective, there isn't much that is unifying and constant. Obviously, it would be tough on open borders, right? Border security first and foremost. But secondarily, it's winning. So I reject this notion that Susie Wiles is insufficiently MAGA when she successfully heralded Trump achieving the greatest political comeback in American history, right? And we know that was because she ran a gold standard campaign. Remember how Ron DeSantis was supposed to beat Trump in Iowa?
Yeah.
And it was the 2024 primary with, a dozen candidates, former governors, former vice president. It was over in a night. And that was in large part because Susie Wiles helped run a winner's campaign. You have Maha mad at Susie Wiles because guess what? Susie Wiles lives in the realm of reality. And that's, if you want to make a long-term investment in healthcare, Ozempic and GLP-1s are actually a great way to do it. You have the isolationists mad at Susie Wiles because she was going to start World War III and,
I don't know.
Operation Midnight Hammer happened how many months ago now? It's still not World War III, Christian, so I don't know. It's like people can't fathom the idea of Trump operating from a position of actual fortitude rather than being purely reactionary or a victim, right? The whole point of winning the election was to govern. And again, on the economic front, not everything has gone perfectly swimmingly. But in large part, the foreign policy agenda, it's hard to see what has been lacking in the foreign policy agenda, given the reality it hasn't even been a year. The border is no longer really an issue. Trump solved the border on day one, and in large part because he had a White House that was able to execute orders effectively. Like, the fact that you don't have the miasma of the world imploding while the economy is not super great, that is helpful. And people are mad at Susie Wiles, right? Like really, what is the practical attack on her? That she's insufficiently MAGA, that she's too pro-big pharma, that she, is in favor of forever wars. Trump's just been ending wars, not starting them.
No, I think people like to look back and say, MAGA folks like to look back and say, again, she worked for Ron DeSantis, but let's not forget how that ended.
She fell out with Ron DeSantis.
Oh, yeah. DeSantis got her kicked out of her lobbying firm down in Florida, and to be honest, she kind of took the Trump job as a means of getting back at him.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another time. And that she also worked for George W. Bush, right? I mean, so the knocks against her are not about her personality, her interpersonal skills, her ability, again, like you mentioned, to effectively manage a winning campaign. It has to do with her resume, quite literally, and the names she used to work for. I think if you're looking, at this conversation entirely, we can take it back to the last question. MAGA is mad at Susie Wiles, not even MAGA. MAGA, right?
And MAGA is not MAGA.
No, MAGA's for Robert F. Kennedy, and it was a smart move by President Trump, I would say, to give RFK HHS because A, we thought he would probably fail the Senate vote.
Yeah.
Turns out he got through, so maybe it wasn't that smart. But two, you got all of those traditionally non-locked-in, engaged political voters, right?
And they gambled that the inventor of Operation Warp Speed wasn't, in favor of vaccines and other pharmaceuticals.
That part
that's
is,
cute.
it's so funny. I mean, it's such wild projection. These people are like, oh, Susie Wiles is the reason, he signed the drug deal with Pfizer. Don't be mad at Susie Wiles. Be mad at Donald Trump, who, let's not forget, is very good friends with Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, and has been for the better part of the last 4 decades.
I like Big Pharma because they've made all of our lives materially better.
This is a pro-medicine show.